Welcome to the Panic Room, where we talk about all things panic-inducing. I am the Queen of Panic. Warning, some episodes may contain content that may be disturbing to others. Viewer discretion is advised. Now let the games begin.
A little over 2 months had passed since Ben had been sent to the emergency room. He still had scars on his face and body, but his recovery had been remarkably quick, astonishing his doctors. Miraculously, Dave hadn't managed to seriously break any bones. It had only been a few moments that Penny had been knocked out by the bat, and while he was occupied by his merciless beating, she stumbled her way down the stairs to the phone and called the police, who arrived within minutes and arrested Dave, an image Ben wouldn't soon forget. Immediately after getting his father out of the way, the paramedics rushed both Penny and her son to the hospital. Luckily, Ben only had a concussion and some minor fractures and dislocations. Penny was terrified of possible brain damage, but there were no signs of any. While there, legal custody of him was handed over to his grandparents, who were more than willing to take him in. Their house was a cozy one, nestled on the outskirts of Maysburg amidst a rather large swath of forest in the country. It was here that he finally felt genuinely loved by somebody, and though he remained largely friendless, when he started going to Maysburg Middle, he felt content. Somehow, despite the popular kids being ruthless, bully machines, he managed to fly under their radar. He was in therapy now, too, and on medication. He'd been diagnosed with depression, anxiety, and PTSD just like his grandparents had suspected. He was the happiest he'd have ever been.
Ben, your mother called today.
Charlie told him Wednesday afternoon in early February.
She says she wants to talk to you about something.
About what?
He asked. Charlie shrugged his shoulders.
I don't know. She wouldn't tell me. Just that she wants to see you tomorrow. I told her I'd ask you about it.
Ben frowned. There was a lot he was still resentful about towards his mother. The idea of her, of a piece of that hell, coming here to his sanctuary, disturbed him. Charlie sighed.
I get it, Ben. I really do. But she's your mother. She might not be the best mother in the world, but she does care about you. And it sounded to me like she's been doing a lot of thinking. And it would be nice here, where you'd be safe. And David won't be here to keep everyone down.
Ben nodded his head heavily.
Okay. I guess I'm okay with it. Do you know if Dad's going to prison yet?
Can't say I do, son.
He said.
He won't talk to me. Your mother's the only one who knows right now. And I'm sorry, Ben.
Why are you sorry?
He asked.
Because I feel like it's partly my fault.
How is it your fault?
Well, I didn't raise her, and sure, I wasn't the perfect parent. I could have been more involved in her life, but I don't know what I did for her to turn out this way. I'm sorry.
It is not your fault. You didn't make her marry Dad and let him beat me and Mom up.
Charlie smiled.
Yeah. You know what, Ben? You're a good kid. Best kid there is. It's just unfortunate that you haven't had the life you deserve. I hope Helen and I can turn things around for you. Give you a good home.
Yeah.
Ben said, not sure what to say.
Ah, hell.
He cried, throwing his arms up playfully.
Huh? What is it?
Charlie gave him a look of frustration, but Ben knew immediately that he was just messing with him.
I've got to start saving up to put you in college.
Already?
Shit, college is expensive, Ben. And it's only getting more expensive every year.
Ben laughed, and for that afternoon, Charlie took him out back to shoot targets with his revolver, something they hadn't done in years. The next day dragged on. Ben both looked forward to and dreaded Penny's visit that afternoon. He wanted things to be okay with her, but he didn't want things to go back to how they were. When he came home from school, his grandparents acted as though nothing was out of the ordinary, but Ben could see a certain hesitation in their eyes. At last, the sound of tires rubbed over gravel outside, and soon to follow was a timid knock upon the front door.
Well, guess that's her.
Charlie said as he stood up and went over.
Hey.
Penny muttered, obscured by Ben's grandfather.
Hey.
There was a moment's silence as the frigid air from outside crept in.
May I come in?
Yeah, Ben's right over there.
He gestured as he stepped away from the door. She smiled at Ben and took off her black gloves.
Hi, sweetie. How are you?
I'm okay.
He returned. He forced a polite smile.
That's good.
You want a drink or anything?
Charlie asked after closing the door.
We got water, coffee, Pepsi, milk. Might still have some almond milk, too.
A coffee would be nice.
Penny smiled.
And coffee coming up. You want a Pepsi, Ben?
Yes, sir.
He set the book down they'd been reading in class.
Still reading just as much as ever, huh?
She asked as she slowly took a seat on one of the extra chairs.
Yes, ma'am.
What book is that?
Lord of the Flies.
Oh, that's a good one. Do you like it?
It's pretty good. I gotta write a paper, though.
Oh, are you reading it for school?
Mm-hmm.
Charlie came back into the living room and said,
Hey, if you want some privacy, you can use Ben's room, if you want. Oh, and, how do you like your coffee?
That'd be great, Charlie. And black is fine.
All right. Ben's in your old room. Oh, and, here's your Pepsi. Coffee will be ready in a few minutes.
Ben got up and led her to his room, which was a little smaller than his old room, but the brown walls and the view of the trees behind the house made it feel more homely. There was an old clock on the wall that ticked softly. It helped him sleep at night.
I like the room.
She said as she closed the door behind them.
Do you like it?
Ben nodded his head and sat down on his bed. Penny pulled up an old antique dining chair from the corner that Ben liked to read in so that she could face him. They stared at each other awkwardly for a minute or so. Penny's gray eyes scanned the room sporadically. She coughed and pulled back her auburn hair.
So, how's school going?
It's good.
Grades okay?
Yeah. A's for the most part.
She smiled.
Yeah. You're a smart kid.
There was a knock on the door, and Charlie eased in with the steaming mug of coffee.
Thanks.
Everything okay? Need anything?
No, but thank you.
Penny answered. Charlie gave a dry thumbs up and left the room, closing the door softly behind him. Penny took a brief sip and recoiled from the heat.
Whew, that's hot. So, I'm sure you're wondering why I wanted to talk to you, and I know you probably have a lot of questions about your dad.
Is he going to prison?
Ben asked quickly. She blinked her eyes and set down the mug.
It'll be another 6 months before his hearing, but probably. I'd be very surprised if he doesn't.
Ben nodded and looked at his shoes and tried to hide his smirk. She leaned over and tried to put her hand on his leg, but he recoiled involuntarily, and she retracted her hand. Ben wished he hadn't done so. It felt nice. The brief moment had been there.
I know it's hard, Ben. Believe me, it's hard on me too. I mean, I've known him for years, since high school. I didn't like having him arrested, but he was out of control. He could have killed you. Could have killed both of us.
Ben nodded his head, his eyes still fixated on his shoes, observing every fiber and splash of mud.
And now I've lost my son too, but I guess it's best for you here. I can't afford to pay for both of us. Besides, there's a lot of heaviness there. No place to be happy. But I do want you to know, Ben, that I love you.
He looked up and saw his mother wipe tears from her eyes. Penny gripped her purse tightly in her lap and shivered in her black coat. Ben looked back down uncomfortably.
I've been thinking a lot since everything happened, and I just want to say that I'm sorry, sweetie. I've always loved you more than anything in the world, but I guess I never knew. I never showed it. I should have been there for you.
It's okay.
Ben whispered, looking back up, this time keeping his eyes on hers.
No.
She said with a shake of her head.
No, it's not okay. I should have been there. And I was never there. Not even when your friend died. It was just... I didn't want to admit that anything was wrong. I wanted to have the perfect family, to have the perfect husband, to be the perfect wife and the perfect mother. I just didn't know what it meant. What the perfect husband was, or what the perfect mother was either. To me, the only thing that mattered was that it looked like we had the perfect lives. I never wanted to think about reality. I should have made him leave a long time ago. He wasn't fit to be a father or a husband. He never was. If he were, he never would have done the things he did. He never would have hit you or treated you the way he did, but I let it happen. I went along, afraid of what would happen if I didn't, and sometimes I believed he was right. Like when he made you eat that bologna, or when we, tricked you in the attic.
Did Dad hit you when I wasn't around?
Ben asked. The question had been in his mind ever since she'd sported the bruise on her cheek the morning after they lured him in the attic, but he never got the courage to ask. She took a sharp breath. She reached for her mug delicately and raised it to her lips.
Yes. Yes, he did, Ben.
A fury rose within Ben that he had never felt before. Sort of a protective rage.
I tried to keep it from you. I didn't want you to worry. That's why I would only argue with him in the bedroom, and usually he did a good job of not leaving marks. I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry.
He said.
It wasn't your fault.
She stared at him in the eyes with a look that was all at once conveyed pride, joy, and was it fear?
You've always been so mature.
She murmured. She took a seat beside him, and Ben hugged her tightly. He felt her tears on his neck, but he had none to offer. He wasn't sure how he was supposed to feel. A few minutes later, he felt her head lift away, and he looked up to see Charlie standing in the doorway.
Hey, just wanted to say we're about to have dinner if you want.
Ben's mother wiped her eyes and checked her flip phone.
I wish I could, but I have to get going.
She said.
I had to pick up another job to keep up with the bills, and I have to be there at 9.
Alright, well, if you ever want to stop by, feel free. You used to live here after all.
Thank you. I'll try to come back soon. Maybe next week?
Any day. Ben gets home around 4, and Helen and I are both home by 3.
All right. Well, Ben, I guess I'll come back as soon as I can. That okay with you?
He nodded his head, his eyes heavy. They all got up, and Ben walked with her to the car.
Call me, okay?
Yeah.
She smiled and kissed him on the head. Ben watched from the driveway as she drove away. As he was putting The Lord of the Flies back into his bag for the next day before bed, he noticed that there seemed to be an extra book in there. Confused, he picked it up and froze. His limbs prickled with dread. It was the Book of Agony. He remembered what the Nameless had told him that dark night in December, how the Nameless had told him to read it a second time. Standing amidst the burnt ashes of what was now his bedroom, hands trembling, he slowly sifted through the sewn-in pages. His fingers turned the pages faster as he went along, desperate to put it away again. And to his twisted relief, nothing seemed to have changed other than the pages were reattached. That is, until he reached the last page. The ink bright red and reeked of pennies. The painting was of Ben, chained to a wall, trapped behind bars. He was staring at 2 corpses on the other side. If you would like to submit your stories, please check out the Panic Within subreddit. I go over those stories that are submitted, and I go ahead and I narrate them. I say go over, but I narrate all of them. So if you're interested in something like that, go ahead and take a look in the description, and you'll find the link there. We also have a Discord. You can come and hang out and get spooky with me and other narrators. We post new content, up-and-coming videos, promotions, and we also just hang out and chat, and you can come and hang out with us there. If you're interested in that, link is also in the description below. And last but not least, if you are interested in doing a collab with the King of Panic or myself, you can absolutely reach out. If you're another creator, you can do one on our channel, we can do one with you. We are completely open for collab as of right now. Looking for new stuff to do and very excited for anybody who reaches out. The best way to do that is through Twitter or Discord. I do check Instagram and I will get back. It just might take a little longer because I'm super bad at that, but I've been trying to be better. So if you do reach out there, even if it takes a couple days, I'll be there. But like I said, we're excited. So please definitely reach out and we're looking forward to it. And as always, thank you for visiting the Panic Room. You have successfully made it to the next portion of your tour. Please stay tuned for your next prompt. Click the like button and subscribe to receive notifications for when the next portion of your tour is ready to join. Thank you for watching. Don't let the panic drown you.